Today we are going to be ranking Tapology's most hated fighters in the UFC. This is, again, according to users of Tapology, the 50 most hated fighters. Well, about 50, because there's a couple fighters in there, whether it's from another promotion or maybe before my time watching combat sports, that I wasn't familiar with, so I just went to like 51, 52, 53, 54. Regardless, it's very, very close to top 50. Guys, these are not all of my choices, so I'm going to be ranking them today, of my opinion, and I would love to know what you guys think down below. Let's take, like, Nate Diaz, for example, just using it as an example. If I hate Nate Diaz, it's going to go into the S tier. If I like Nate Diaz, it's going to go into the D tier. Again, I'm going to be ranking them based on how much I hate them. Tapology actually called this the shit list. So, guys, we're going to get into the tier list in just a second. Before we do, though, I do want to say hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Let's get straight into it. Starting off with Nate Diaz. I'm not going to lie. When Nate Diaz was on the come up, man, I was a big fan of Nate Diaz, but then he just started to get a little bit more annoying and always talking like he's the champ. Like, nobody wants to fight Nate Diaz when we're, like, in reality at this point in his career, he is probably one of the easiest fighters in UFC. But at the end of the day, I like Nate. I like his antics, but I don't really care for him. So Nate Diaz, I'm going to put in the B tier, which is the neutral tier. I don't feel one way or the other. Now, let's talk about Aljamain Sterling. So, it's tough because Aljamain Sterling, I really hated him. Okay, I really hated him when he won that title the way he did, because we all know he was acting. I thought it was just, everything rubbed me the wrong way, just like it did the rest of the fans. But I started watching Aljamain Sterling's YouTube channel and how he carried himself after. So I actually don't mind Aljamain Sterling now. I'm going to go with neutral for Aljamain Sterling. I just don't care for him. That's all. I don't dislike the B tier in the shit list. Okay, Alistair Overeem. I like Alistair Overeem a lot. I always like watching him fight. The reason I don't love Alistair Overeem is because, of course, the PED used, so lose a little bit of respect for him there, but he's always fun to watch. I just liked Alistair Overeem. He's in the C tier for sure. Now, Amanda Nunes. B. I don't care for Amanda Nunes. I don't feel one way or another about her. Anyways, Belal Muhammad. This is tough because most people would definitely have Belal Muhammad in the S tier, right? Oh, I have a feeling I'm going to be putting a lot of these people into the B tier, but I'm going to go with dislike for Belal Muhammad. I don't really like the way he fights. The problem is, everything that he's saying is kind of warranted. Like, yeah, he does deserve a title shot. Yeah, he does deserve a fight more than Colby Covington and Leon Edwards, but I don't know, just the way he's going about it just rubs me the wrong way just a little bit. So if there was a tier between dislike and neutral, it'd be there. I just don't have a strong feeling for him, but I dislike him more than I feel neutral about him. Ben Askren, D tier. Love him. I think he's hilarious. I love everything about Ben Askren, especially when he came to the UFC. So entertaining. And Pech Kohea, man. You know what? There's nothing I can say. I just dislike her. I just dislike her. I'm going to put her in front of Belal Muhammad, though. I dislike her a little bit more than Belal Muhammad. She's just not a likable person, right? But Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. This is a little bit of an unpopular opinion, especially nowadays for Paddy Pimblett, especially after his Jared Gordon fight. I like Paddy Pimblett a lot. I like him. I don't like him as much as Ben Askren. Paddy Pimblett is going into the D tier. I like Paddy Pimblett. Carlos Esparza. Oh, man. I don't like Carlos Esparza. No. A tier. A tier for Carlos Esparza. Boo, Carlos Esparza. Boring for performances. You suck. Cody Garbrandt. You know what? I was a little bit shocked to see Cody Garbrandt on this list because, again, this is Tapology's rankings for the 50 most hated fighters. There's a few fighters on here I was pretty shocked to see. And I was shocked to see Cody Garbrandt on here. But I don't like Cody Garbrandt. Very cringe. Hanging with the boys. You know, I just didn't like him. He was so unlikable when it came to TJ Dillashaw. I don't like Cody Garbrandt. I'm going to throw him right in front of Carla Esparza in the dislike tier, in the A tier. Now, Colby Covington. Like him a lot. I think he's hilarious. We all know it's an act. I think he's a good guy behind the camera. I like Colby Covington a lot. He is really funny. I'm going to put him in front of Paddy Pimblett, D tier. Curtis Blades. I like Curtis Blades. I'm going to put him in front of Alistair Overeem. Not bad, not bad. Dylan Dennis. Oh, man. You know what's funny about Dylan Dennis is everybody hated Dylan Dennis. Then everybody loved Dylan Dennis. And now everybody hates Dylan Dennis again after losing the boxing match. I like Dylan Dennis. I think he's pretty funny. And I understand what he's doing, you know? Like, it's kind of like I look at him kind of like I do Colby Covington. But obviously, Colby Covington I respect way more as a fighter. Dylan Dennis is nowhere near the level of Colby Covington. I like Dillon Danis. I'm going to put him right in front of Alistair Overeem. Now, Dominic Cruz is an interesting one because on the come up, I was cheering for him all the time. I love Dominic Cruz, even back in the WEC days. Dominic Cruz was one of those fighters I was fascinated by his stance. I learned his combination. So as a fighter, I respect him. I've studied his movements. I've incorporated into my own style in martial arts. I love Dominic Cruz. Love him as a commentator. I think he's great at what he does. But as time goes on, you just kind of think this guy's a little bit of a jerk. Ever since the stuff he did with Daniel Cormier, the fact that he just can't accept any losses, and now he's so petty and he's always bringing up his losses all the time about the ref, like, good job on, he would be commentating, good job on that ref to allow him the opportunity to save himself. Like, Dominic Cruz is getting a little bit more annoying as time goes on, and it really, really hurts me to say. I'm starting to dislike Dominic Cruz a little bit, but the problem is, man, I love everything he does. I love when he's a commentator. I love watching him fight. I love the build up to his fights. He's hilarious. But him, like, it's tough. But I dislike him a little bit nowadays. Very bottom of A tier. Very bottom of A tier for Dominic Cruz. Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier. Where are we going to put Dustin Poirier? You know what? Dustin has been becoming a little bit more unlikable as time goes on. I'm at the point where I just feel neutral about Dustin Poirier. I'm going to put Dustin Poirier into the B tier right behind Nate Diaz. Now, Germaine Durand. I hate how much this chick cheats. It is absolutely ridiculous. Very annoying. Dislike for sure. For sure. I'm going to put her. There we go. Now, Greg Hardy. I mean, there's not exactly a lot to like about Greg Hardy. We can just throw him right into the S tier. Greg Hardy, I can't respect things you do, man. Especially the very underrated thing is taking an inhaler in the octagon. Anyways, Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo, man. I like Henry Cejudo a lot. I really like him. I'm throwing him in the D tier. I love Henry Cejudo. I love his cringe gimmick. I think he's a great athlete. I respect him a lot. Two-weight champion, one of the greatest combat sports athletes of all time. Love Henry Cejudo. Really do. Now, Ian Gary. Talk about becoming one of the most hated fighters of all time in such a short period of time. I gotta say, I'm on the side of the internet for this one. Ian Gary, S tier. Now, Leon Edwards. I don't like the fact how Leon Edwards is treating his title run, and he's kind of bugging me just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm gonna throw him right in front of Bilal Muhammad. Nothing special about him. I just like slightly dislike him. John Jones, S tier. Absolutely. Just a piece of crap person. I don't even need to talk about it, all the things that he's done, right? But do I hate Ian Gary more than I hate John? No. John Jones is S tier, man. Islam Makhachev. I like Islam. I like him a lot. I think he's low-key funny. I think he's a fantastic fighter. I think he gets way too much hate, and people call him boring all the time. Don't get it. He's not boring at all. I like Islam Makhachev a lot. I'm throwing him into the D tier. Israel Adesanya. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. It's like John Jones, man. It's self-explanatory. S tier. S tier for Israel Adesanya. You know what, man? I think I might like John Jones more than Israel Adesanya. Don't ask me why. John Jones is obviously a bad person. Israel Adesanya is taking the #1 spot. I just don't like him, man. Let's go. Evil. Very annoying. A tier. Dislike. Where are we going to put her? I'm going to put her in front of Leon Edwards. There we go. Jorge Masvidal. Here's an interesting one. If you were to tell me a long time ago, especially when Jorge came onto the scene when he was a contender, that he would be on one of his lists, I would be throwing him in the D tier immediately. I was a big fan of Jorge Masvidal. But now, after everything that we've seen come out on Jorge Masvidal, how he's been behaving ever since that flying knee, man, he's just completely changed as a guy. He thinks he's the best. He's going... everything about Jorge Masvidal nowadays is a strong hate. I don't like Jorge Masvidal anymore. I think he's annoying. It's crazy to me. Now, speaking of annoying, Juliana Pena. You know what the thing is? She's annoying, but I don't hate her. Slight dislike for Juliana Pena. Slight dislike. We're going to put her right behind Leon. Right there. We're going to put her right next to Bilal. Now, Kamaru Usman, I don't know. Something rose me. You know what's funny is something about Kamaru Usman always rubbed me the wrong way. Where he just... I don't like that he always talked like this. Like he wanted to be so sick. Like, oh yeah, my name's Kyle. I'm making a tier list right now. I'm making a tier list. A tier list about UFC fighters that Tapology, the users of Tapology, they all just hated, you know? That's what bugged me about him. I really, really liked the way that he handled the Leon Edwards loss. It kind of like spun my opinion about him a little bit, to be honest with you. Not really, but like, it was like, oh, that's cool that you can joke about that. Maybe I was just putting a little bit too much into how Kamaru Usman was. So Kamaru Usman is going to go in neutral. I'm going to put him at the bottom of neutral. Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee's all right. Neutral. I don't really feel a strong way about him either way, but I'm going to put him in front of Aljamain Sterling. Habib. I like Habib, but nothing special about Habib. I just like him. Do I love Habib? Nah, probably not. I'm going to put him right behind Curtis Blades. I'm a big fan of Curtis Blades over here. Hamzat Chimaev. Very annoying. Don't like him. Dislike. Where are we going to throw Hamzat Chimaev? I don't like the way that he laughs about his weight. I don't like how he talks. He's inactive. He just says that he wants to fight everybody and then doesn't. Hamzat Chimaev is going to go... dislike. There we go. Josh Koscheck. I'm not going to lie. I don't really know too much about Josh Koscheck. So we're going to go neutral for Josh Koscheck. Brock Lesnar. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really like him that much. I don't like Brock Lesnar. Find him a little bit annoying. He's a steroid abuser, of course, too. What are we going to do? It was great when Kane put a beating on him back in the day. We're going to put Brock Lesnar. I'm going to put him right behind Leon Edwards. Now, Luke Rockhold. Sorry, guys. I hate Luke Rockhold, man. He sucks. Luke Rockhold sucks, man. He's so arrogant. He's unbelievable how arrogant he is. Walks around thinking he's better than everybody. He's a great fighter, man. He's a great fighter, but Bisping really, really exposed him for how he was. It's crazy to me how people really like Luke Rockhold. Now, Conor McGregor. I like Conor. Conor's awesome. Been slipping a little bit nowadays, but I like Conor. I'm going to put him in the top of A tier. Conor's good. Conor's pretty good. Mike Perry. To be honest with you, this was a little bit of a shocker to see on the list. But I like Mike Perry. I think he's funny. I think he's an animal in that cage. I really do. Mike Perry. I'm going to go at the bottom. No, Alistair Overeem. I'm going to switch him right there. I like Mike Perry. Jason Mayhem Miller. Now, I don't know to what extent he's been in trouble nowadays, because I know he's been getting into some legal trouble. I haven't followed up on that, to be honest with you. So if it's something to like the level of John Jones, obviously ignore what I'm about to say. But I thought Mayhem was hilarious. I loved him back in the day. Bully Beatdown was one of the greatest things. He's a fun personality. Mayhem Miller is absolutely in the love for me. Guys, I'm going to say, out of everybody on this list so far, I like Mayhem Miller the most. But again, I know he's been losing it a little bit. I know he's been getting in trouble. So that's the big problem. If there is really, really something bad that he's getting into, then obviously that's not good at all, right? But Nick Diaz. I like Nick Diaz a lot more than Nate Diaz. He's way more likable. He's a better fighter. And I don't know, like, they kind of have the same Diaz type personality, but Nick did it first. Nick did it better. Nick's a better fighter. Nick could compete with the best of the best, unlike Nate. I like Nick. Actually, I love Nick. I'm going to put him in front of Colby Covington. I'm a big fan of Nick Diaz. Now, BJ Penn. Neutral. Don't care for BJ Penn. Sorry, he was getting out of there. Just he wasn't. When I started watching MMA, his dominant reign was over. Now Ronda Rousey, hate Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey sucks. Ronda Rousey is just not likable one little bit. Not one little bit. Nothing about her is really likable. Thug Rose. That's an interesting one. If you would have talked to me about 5 years ago, she'd be in the love tier. But now, after that Carla Esparza bout, she left such a sour taste in everybody's mouth with her bad attitude. I straight up dislike her. I straight up dislike Rose Namajunas at this point. I'm going to put her behind Juliana Pena here, but I will adjust my camera for a second, guys. Hopefully that's a little bit easier. I don't know if that looks a little bit better at all, but regardless, we're rolling. We're rolling here. Who is next? Who do we have next? Cyborg. Neutral. I don't care for Cyborg. Yeah, nothing special about her. Then we have, keep continuing on, Brendan Schaub. Guys, one of my most unpopular MMA opinions is I like Brendan Schaub. I find him funny. Like, don't get me wrong, his comedy is a little bit rough to watch, but I like the way he rolls with Joe Rogan. I like him with Brian Callen, the fighter and the kid I used to listen to all the time. I don't know why I stopped listening, to be honest. I thought it was a good podcast, man. I like Brendan Schaub. One of my hottest MMA takes. I never understood all the hate for him. I understood the hate for his comedy because that was bad. But I mean, and you know, you could argue that he just picks fighters based on who's popular, who he wants to get on the show, right? But I like him. I like Brendan Schaub. I'm putting him in front of Curtis Blades, man. People always make fun of me because I like Brendan Schaub. I just do, man. I just do. Now, Sean O'Malley. What are we going to do with Sean O'Malley? Neutral. Sean O'Malley's neutral. But I like him a little bit more than most of these guys. I'll put him right there. Next up, Sean Strickland. This one's tough because Sean Strickland's funny. He just beat Israel Adesanya, so that made him a little bit more likable. He has some good interviews with Nina Drama. Like, Sean Strickland's always fun in the octagon. You know what? That's probably better if I do that, eh? But I'm covering Bilal and Juliana Pena. But do you guys really want to see Bilal and Juliana Pena? Regardless. Sean Strickland. I just don't think he's that good of a guy, man. I just don't think he's a good guy. You know? Loves beating people up. Always talking about who he has murder fantasies. You know, that kind of stuff. I don't think he's a good guy. Kind of like John Jones. But he hasn't acted like John Jones has. So I honestly, guys, I find Sean Strickland fun. He brings a lot of fun everywhere that he goes to the press conferences. But I don't like him as a guy. I don't. I'm throwing him up there with I'm throwing him up there with... I'm going to put him in front of Cruz right here. I feel like that's where I'm going to put him. Now, Tito. I don't like Tito. He's stupid. Thinks he's awesome. I love the memes about him. Chael exposed him completely. Tito Ortiz. Very, very dislikable fighter. Next to Cody Garbrandt. In front of Cody Garbrandt. You're taking over the A-tier, Tito. Good job. Now, TJ Dillashaw. This one always breaks my heart, guys, because TJ is the fighter that inspired me to really change my style of martial arts. He inspired me to study his tape. He inspired me. I modeled my Muay Thai and kickboxing style after TJ Dillashaw. I learned his combinations. I got quite good at it. At least I like to think I got quite good at it. I tried to be like TJ Dillashaw. He was such an inspiration to me and my favorite fighter. I was so disappointed to see that he was an abuser. I just was. But for some reason, because of that connection that I built with him, like in myself, like studying him being an inspiration to me, I can't bring myself to really dislike him, to be honest with you. I'm going to put him in the neutral. TJ Dillashaw in the neutral. Top of neutral. That's where he's going to run. He's going to run the neutral tier. But I do need to adjust this one more time. Apologies, guys. I think this is back to where we started, wasn't it? Now, Travis Brown. Don't care for Travis Brown. No feelings either way. We're going to throw him in the neutral tier right behind Kevin Lee and Tyron Woodley. Tyron Woodley, neutral. Maybe towards the end of neutral. We're going to put him with Kamaru Usman there. Now, Merab. Also neutral. I don't get the hate for him. He's an exciting fighter. He's had some exciting fights. And yeah, you know what? Sometimes he spams takedowns, but I find his high pressure style fun, and I don't hate him for it. Yeah, you could argue the Aljamain Sterling stuff, like, you know, yeah, him and Aljamain have a little bit of a weird relationship towards that top, but I don't care. I don't care for Merab. I don't want to say I like Merab. Yeah, I'm going to put him in neutral. I don't really feel a strong way about Merab at all. I'm going to put him in front of Dustin Poirier. Now, last one, Vitor Belfort, steroid cheat, annoying, dislike. Bang, there we go. Guys, that is my personal rankings of the top 50 most hated fighters according to the users of Tapology. Now, off the top of my head, I do remember that both Israel Adesanya and John Jones and Ian Gary and Greg Hardy, actually, well, these four that I have here, were up there on the list. I can actually check. Yeah, so number 1 was John Jones. Number 2 was Greg Hardy. Dylan Dennis fell at number 4. What's another interesting one? Colby Covington fell at number 8, which is interesting. And Conor McGregor at number 11. Israel Adesanya, my mistake, was at number 13. Aljamain Sterling, 17. Jorge Masvidal at 19. It's also surprising Kamaru Usman's around 25. There was quite a few fighters on here that was just a little bit shocking for me to see. But that is my personal rankings. There are fighters that I dislike, and there are fighters that I absolutely love. Guys, let me know if there are any fighters that you don't like in the comment section down below. If you are interested, I made a whole video talking about all of my favorite fighters. There are so many more fighters. I actually dislike, I don't dislike a ton of fighters at all. So Let me know what you guys think. If you're interested, go check out that video I made where we're ranking all of my favorite MMA and UFC fighters, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video on the screen right now. If you'd like to continue watching the Clenbat channel, there'll be 2 videos on screen for you to check out. I will see you either there or in the next video, everybody. Take care.